Welcome back, everybody. I am the H piece of the puzzle, and today we are concluding our tutorial on how to edit a Magic the Gathering or any card game gameplay video. When we last left off, we had just finished up our tutorial template. So now that the template's done, it's time to get into the nitty-gritty of editing. And I'm going to level with you. This is the least fun part of the process once you do it every week. So we're starting with our gameplay. We've got our gameplay brought into our file here, Birds of Paradise, new top commander. Unfortunately, there's no Birds of Paradise in this, but that's okay. We're going to click and shift-click our footage and drag it in like that. So starting out with our gameplay here, generally what I recommend is you put the gameplay and the audio on the bottom layers here, the low layers, and then you leave a spare top layer right here. This is so you can separate the usable clips from the not usable clips. And before we get into this, I am going to recommend maybe you should just use the live audio and just have your players say what they're doing, because I'll let you know right now, it's going to save you a lot of time. But if you want to do this kind of voiceover narration gameplay, this is what you do. So first things first, let's figure out where the game actually starts. Looks like there was a Gemstone Cavern play. So we're just going to move all the way over to that. You can fast forward through footage with the L button. This is where the footage actually starts, so we're going to cut there, delete. What I strongly recommend for this part, and actually basically required, lock any layers that aren't the gameplay by hitting the lock key. Then you click here, hit delete. We've deleted the dead air. So this is where the game starts. And now, before we start actually editing, let's change some things on this footage, because there's definitely some problems with it. So let's reset to save layout, so we all know what's going on. Effect controls. Footage is a little zoomed out, footage is a little crooked. So let's do rotation to about -1, and then let's zoom in to about 106. And that looks so much better. Maybe -2. Okay, that's a little more even. It's not perfect. It's always good to try and do that in the setup. So let me copy that footage. Then we select everything, and then we right-click and we paste attributes. Change the motion, just like we did with things in the last video. So now we started out our footage. So we start cutting. I recommend zooming in to about 4 every 2 seconds. Okay, Gemstone Cavern played. So we pause, go to our razor, C, click, then we drag that up, because that's going to be one of our usable footage files. We're going to keep those on video 2 layer. So we keep going, and they're going to imprint something. Half of editing is waiting. You can control where you are in the timeline with your left and right keys to go frame by frame. So in this case, okay, Exile Motherford. So then we just pull that up. And that's how we get our usable clips. And this is where I tell you this is going to take forever. This is one of the longer parts. So I'm just going to fast forward and catch you on the flip side. Okay, I'll level with you. I didn't want to edit that for like 2 hours, so I can admit when I've cheated. So we fast forwarded a little bit through the process. So I'm just going to explain how we got from what we saw before to this right here. Now, this is actually a lot easier than it looks. So let's pull up a piece of footage again. Let's say we're messing around with who footage. I want this very important play, this very important play, and this very important play right here. And I think there was a bit of funny banter during that I will not be playing, just in case it's not as funny as I want it to be. When you find banter or live commentary that you like, you still pull it up like that, but you also want to pull the audio down one as well, just to notify them. So we've got the footage we like, and you know what? This is the only footage I want for this. This will make a perfect video. So all you have to do, now that it's done, is you just need to come up to V2, go down the line, select all the files in that track. So all you have are your good files. And then you click the audio, you hold shift so that it doesn't change its position, and you drag down one. So now because of this, we've separated the good files from the trash in-betweens. So that's easy enough. Now, in order to scrunch it together, we just lock V1, we lock A1, and then we click the in-between, hit delete, smush it together. Click the in-between, hit delete, smush it together. Terrific. And then some of the underneath you can keep as long as you just mute it and turn it off. But if you just want to be careful and get rid of all of it, you can just scroll down all the way, highlight everything, and hit delete. And now we've got some of our footage there. That's going to be a beautiful 5-second video. Great for TikTok. Or Vine. People still use Vine, right? Anyways, because of that, we end up with this. Our beautiful timeline right here. That is a full edited gameplay video. This probably took 2-3-ish hours to do like this. So I'm just giving you the heads up now. And it looks a lot more than what I just showed, but it's effectively what I just showed you multiplied by the length of a multi-hour gameplay session, which we condensed down to about 13 minutes, which I'm gonna say is pretty good. And so now that you've got all your footage you need here, it's time to move on to the voiceover. Now, there's no way of sugarcoating this. The voiceover is about the second time now that you've seen this gameplay. So, in order to do a voiceover, you need the script. In order to do the script, you just open some sort of document and you just make a note of everything you see. Okay, so here's an example of a completed script. We've got everything we need. We say the lines at the beginning, say what the decks do, and then we get to the actual gameplay. So the process of this is you're effectively just going through. You're waiting for something to happen. Plays a wooded foothills, okay? So we go, Evan draws, plays a wooded foothills. Okay, I assume he cracks it, paying life, fetching up a bite. Okay, so then we just go to paying life, fetching up a bite. Plays Soul Ring and passes. And that's basically just how writing the script works, just saying what people do during their turns. A couple tips for a script, though. One, try and use longer sentences versus short ones. You don't want to go, Evan draws, plays a wooded foothills. He cracks it, paying a life, fetching up a bayou. He plays a Soul Ring and passes. Or he plays a Soul Ring, Evan passes. That's going to get really old and really annoying really fast, so ways to just combine the sentences, Evan draws and plays a wooded foothills, cracking it, paying a life, fetching up a bayou onto the battlefield. He plays a Soul Ring and passes. Things like that just definitely help scripts for gameplay and make them run smoother, especially when a lot of things are happening at once in a turn. Just make sure your scripts aren't so long that you're going to run out of breath as you say it. And yeah, so that's the entire process of writing scripts. You just look at what's happening in the game and write it down and keep a tally as you go. And by the time you get to the bottom, boom, we randomly have a 9-page script. It's all done. So then we go in, get our voiceover recorded, and then we're ready for the next part, which is lining everything up. Now, fortunately for me, I have once again cheated, and this is all lined up already, thank God. By this point, this is about to be the third time you've seen this game, and you're going to start getting a little tired of it. That's why, again, I kind of recommend switching to like the live style. But if this is what you're passionate about and this is the style you want to do, I'm not going to say don't do it. It is a fun way to do it. I just did it for about a year, and you're going to get burned out from ideas no matter how much you love them in a year. So just keep that in mind as you're going. Okay, so now we've got our voiceover. So that's easy. You just drag it into an audio. Now, to force it to generate a new audio layer, we just put it in like that. All right, so we've got our audio from our voiceover in there. Now, this is mostly lined up, but I'm just going to show you how this process would go. First things first, once again, V1 and A1 are locked. So let's get to work. So maybe I want cracks to start right there. You also want to make sure you lock the voiceover track A4. Now, in order to adjust this, maybe I need the Wooded Foothills video to start playing right there where he actually starts, where I actually say that he cracks it. So we hit the A button, we click here. One more important thing, lock that. Just lock every track that isn't the ones you're working on exactly. So select that with A. Now we click and we've got that file and everything in front of it. And we just pull it forward. Then we can extend the file behind just like that. And there's shortcuts to do that as well. For this part, I just like doing it like that. So now, say bayou. So we hit A, click the next footage, which shows the bayou, move it. Start saying Soul Ring there. So we hit A, move the footage. It can get a little dicey because it doesn't like lock on sometimes. And that's exactly how you do it. Just hold A and move things just like that. Really easy way to do editing. It is tedious, but it will get it all lined up. It'll make it all look nice. So I'm going to cheat again, skip ahead, and I'll see you when I come back. Welcome back, everybody. I have cheated and skipped ahead, so everything is lined up in this file. So we are all done with just gameplay. Your gameplay now lines up with your footage. So now we need to start adding some cards. So for that, we're going to move over to the card stack layering. So to start, we're going to go to sequences. We're going to go to card stack overlay, and just gameplay is right here for us. Now, if it might be too big or too small, we can resize it. That's what happens with sequences sometimes. And we've got a card right here to use as our reference. So let's see what gets played this game. Wooded Foothills. Okay. So now we want to go to our photos. Hey, if it's gonna, not freeze, that'd be terrific. Yeah, Adobe crashes sometimes. Welcome to that. Okay, welcome back. After that brief crash, we have finished up with our gameplay. So now it's time to work on our cards. So we go to sequences, card stack overlay, and just gameplay is all here ready for us. So let's see what card is played first this game. Okay, so Wooded Foothills is the first card that is played this game. So we're gonna go to our photos, MTG cards. We're gonna look up Wooded Foothills. Okay, Wooded Foothills. We can click that, we can drag it. Now there's actually a much faster way to do this. A much faster way to do this is we can click here to highlight that blue, unclick that, click up here, and then when we click Wooded Foothills, we actually want to hit period on the keyboard. Putting it in like that just immediately puts it in, no dragging, and it gets a little better. Okay, buy it. Now we can drag, but we can also Shift Q, make sure you lock your V1 and A1 first. We can Shift Q, which extends that, make sure that's locked. And then we can go find Bayou, hopefully. There we go. Click it, hit period, it's in. Soul Ring, so Shift Q, make sure it's extended all the way. Soul Ring, click Soul Ring, period, and Soul Ring's up. And it's as easy as that. Now for a stack, you can just click and drag to a layer above it. Or what you can do is, if you have all of these levels highlighted, if you just move this up, and then you click and hit period, it'll put it in whatever level you have selected over here. So that's an easy way to build a stack as well, or again, you can just drag and drop, there's nothing wrong with that. And that's how we'd put all the cards in. Now when we're all done, got our young Pyromancer up here, we can copy him, and right click, paste attributes, motion, just like that. And now they're all the right size. But what if we want to layer them? Because now it's just overlay. Well, an easy thing to do is we can go up to position and make them come out a little bit. Now, how I do it for this size is I set this, my X point, to 1,000. So it goes up by 40 for each layer. Then for position, I make it go up by 110. So it goes from 540 to 650. And now we've got a stack, just like that. Then the cards can disappear however you want them. If you want a card to morph into itself to show that it's countering something, like maybe Soul Ring's countering Soul Ring, we go to position, click the keyframe wherever we want it to start, then we go to the end, we hit another keyframe right there, and then we want it to go into it, so we go 960 by 540, which is where the card underneath it is, dead center. Now when we play that back, it's countered, just like that. Really simple, really easy. If you want to make it look more convincing, you can also do a dissolve just like that to show that it's like really countering it. Just like that, so that it disappears as it hits it. Really easy stuff there, really easy to make a stack. So I'm going to cheat once more and fast forward ahead on this, and I'll see you when I get back. All right, welcome back, everybody. I have cheated and have finished this because I'm not spending the 40 minutes to an hour this will take. We've got it all right. So now we've got our full stack and everything here. Stacks are really easy to do once you know how to do them. And like I said, we just keep going up by 40 on the X and 110 on the Y. So this is 1,000 by 650 like before. This is 1,040 by 760. And this is 1,080 by 870 with the drawdown to countering. Really easy stuff. Makes things super simple for things like the stack. So now that we've got our cards in, all that's really left is life totals and turns. So for this, it's really easy. We just put the card stack overlay in, or you can do this during the template, and boom. We've got our overlay. We have Joe on Mystical Tutor, Noah on Tivit, Ned on Timna Crom, and Mel on Najila. But this is not quite right. So let's start down here. We just double click in. Evan is on. Vishrez, I think has 2 A's in it. If it doesn't, it does now. Wizards, you gotta ride. Up here, we have Ash on. Elish Norn. You can shorten this because by the time your audience has gotten past the intro, they know exactly what decks are going to be played. Over here, we have Josh on. Unctus. And finally, we have Tanner. Remember, always leave that first letter so it doesn't reset the settings. On Ovika. All right, awesome. So this is really easy, just like before. We're just watching if it pays a life. So first thing we need to do is we need to go to the bottom left, hit the razor tool, and we just click, double click here, and change that number to 13-9 because he has lost a life. Then we can fast forward a little bit. Okay, so now we need to update the turns because it's about to be Evan's turn. Easy enough. We go up to 0-1, hit our T button or double click it, change it to 2. All right, we're good to go. All right, we need to update the turn again. Nobody's really taking any damage this game. We're gonna go until somebody else takes damage. All right, top right. So Josh just got hit by Thalia, so he takes 2 damage, so he goes to 38. So that's how changing life totals works. You just split it, and you just adjust the number each time. It's really easy. Just make sure you update your turns, update your life total. White with a black border is a good default, but there's plenty of other things you can do with that, which is pretty awesome. So with that being said, I'm going to cheat for the final time, and I will see you on the flip side. Welcome back, everyone. I will once again admit that I have deceived you, and I have skipped way far ahead on this. You might notice that everything looks a little different. That's because I have a confession to make. This entire time, instead of just skipping ahead, I have just been pulling the assets from the already completed video that I did. I know, I'm sorry. I just didn't want to spend 5 hours editing something I had already edited. But the point is still there. We've got all of our life totals updated. Everything's changing as it should be. So this gameplay is all good. So we're done. All we have to do is go to our full video, sequences, full video, get everything here. Really, all that would be left is to make sure we extend things out so they're the right size, because that gameplay file is definitely a lot bigger. So just make sure that it's full size by making some adjustments, because that's a great way to cut a video off abruptly, and we don't want that. The only thing really left to do is to add music, and this is super easy. There's a lot of resources out there for free music that you can use, and when you find the music that you want, just add it in. As an example, maybe we wanted Game Changer to be some of our music. All we'd have to do is right-click, audio gain, -23, just so that it doesn't overpower anything. And then we can alt-click if we like this song so much we want to use it the entire time and drive our audience insane. That lines up about right. So now we just need to stop the audio there. Maybe we go to Effects. We go to Audio Transitions, Crossfade, Exponential Fade. Add it there, click it and lengthen it a bit, just like that. One last thing we might want to do is add some transitions between things. So in this case, we might do like a cross dissolve there. Now in this case, it will say it will contain repeating frames, so maybe that doesn't matter for this one. This just goes black, so that's not a big deal. But if you don't want to mess with that, you can always pull it out a little bit and do the fade out a little differently. Go all the way to the front. I have a scroll. I don't know why I'm trying to do this manually. And do the exact same thing here, except on the front, we have missing frames. That's totally fine. All right, and it's all come together quite nicely. All that's left is to export it, and that's one of the easiest parts at this point, in my opinion. Export, media. Now, you can't upload it directly to YouTube, and that's a thing you can do, but I recommend just doing it normally and then uploading it yourself unless you're really crunched on time. So we'll just call it Bop Best Commander. High quality 1080 HP, that's fine. One that I'd recommend instead, though, is YouTube 1080 Full HD, and then it'll go entire source, so the whole video. And then we hit export, we let it go. And that's the basics to making a Magic the Gathering CDH gameplay video. Now, the biggest difference if you were doing 1v1 is just removing 2 of the life totals and maybe having the card come up on the side instead of the middle, just so it doesn't obstruct anything. Unless you want to set it up like that. then that's totally fine if you want to design it with the cards in the middle anyways. It's just a little more of a workaround than it is in a 4-player format like EDH or CDH or Oathbreaker, so just keep that in mind as you're editing. And with that being said, that's the tutorial. If you got something out of this, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. If there's something that I didn't cover that you have a question about, leave it in the comment section down below just so I know what's up. And as a parting gift, I am going to leave the project file that we created in this in the description down below, so you can either use it to follow along with your own projects or use it as a starting point as you're making your own thing. It will just be the project file, not a template, so again, make sure to hit File and then Save as Template. And with all that said, I'm an HP of the Puzzle, and have a great rest of your day.